Let's focus on dividing radicals, and it is a key idea that an expression is not simplified if its denominator contains a radical. We always need to clean up the denominator and get rid of the radical. And the process that we use is called rationalizing the denominator. Now, this is vocabulary that I have been using all along, but we're just formalizing it here for this set of notes. Now, these problems come in a variety of levels of difficulty. We don't care about the square root of 7 in the numerator on this first problem. We just care about square root in that 16 to have 4 in the denominator, leaving the square root of 7 up in the numerator. In number 2, we cannot square root that 3 very easily, but we do have a square root of 21 up above. And we could think of this as one single radical containing 21/3, and that is reducible to 7 over 1. And so basically we have the square root of 7 here over the square root of 1, which we can ignore. In number 3, we can't simplify that square root of 5. There's no numerator to simplify with, and so we have to pull out a trick here. We're going to multiply by the square root of 5 over the square root of 5. This will give us in the numerator 4 square roots of 5. Notice I did not make this 20 because 4 was not inside the radical. And down below we have the square root of 25, which is just the whole number 5. Now these 5's do not cancel because the 1 up in the numerator is inside of a radical, and you cannot cancel a number inside a radical with one outside of a radical. For number 4, we cannot cancel the 4 and the 6. We need to rationalize the denominator by multiplying by root 6 over root 6. This will give us 4 root 6 in the numerator, and the square root of 36 becomes 6 in the denominator. However, the 4 and the 6 are both outside of a radical. Those are free to cancel with each other, and we will reduce this expression to 2 root 6 divided by 3. For this next problem, we're getting one step more challenging. We cannot just multiply by root 3 over root 3. It's okay in the numerator, but look down below. The first part of distribution would give me 2 root 3, which is not going to be productive. So instead, we're going to multiply by 2 minus root 3 over 2 minus root 3. Basically, what we have here are conjugates, and we want to multiply the conjugate of the denominator over itself by what we have down below. Now, the whole idea here is that down below we don't have to FOIL, we can just FOIL, because the middle terms of FOIL are going to cancel each other out. We're going to have 2 times 2, which is 4. Skip the 2 root 3 minus 2 root 3. The last term of FOIL will be positive times negative, so negative root 9, which is 3. Now upstairs we actually have to do a distribution, and so 5 times 2 is 10 minus 5 root 3. Now since this denominator is equal to 1, we can just write this now as 10 minus 5 root 3 without a denominator at all. For number 6, again we have a binomial in the denominator, and we need to rationalize the denominator by multiplying by the conjugate of the denominator, 3 root 2 minus 4 root 3, over itself. That's the only way we're going to clear the denominator and rationalize it. Now up in the numerator we're going to have a distribution problem as before, and down below in the denominator we don't have to do an entire FOIL. By design, the middle terms are going to cancel each other out, and all we have to do is multiply the first and the last terms together. So let's focus first on this denominator. We're going to have 3 times 3, which is going to be 9, root 2 times 2, which is root 4. The middle terms are going to cancel, 12 root 6 and minus 12 root 6. We will have positive 4 times negative 4, making minus 16 root 9. Okay, let's look at what we really have here. This is a 9 times 2, which is a 18, a 16 times 3, so this is a 48. And so our denominator really is 18 minus 48, which is negative 30. Now, as far as the numerator goes, I could do the full distribution up above, but take a look here. I'm going to leave this as 6 times 3 root 2 minus 4 root 3, so that when I bring it over 3 root 2 minus 4 root 3, I can cancel the 6 and the 30 and have a negative 5 down below. Now let's rewrite what we have. Our numerator is going to be 3 root 2 minus 4 root 3 over negative 5. Now technically we've rationalized the denominator, but I don't like that negative denominator there, so I'm going to say there's another way we could write this. We could put it over a positive 5. That's multiplying the denominator by a negative, so we'd multiply the numerator by a negative, and the negative 1 technique says we can reverse the order and have that as 4 root 3 minus 3 root 2. For number 7, again, we're going to multiply by the conjugate of the denominator, negative 3 root 3 plus 3 root 5 over itself again, negative 3 root 3 plus 3 root 5. We're not multiplying by the opposite, we're only changing the sign in the middle, multiplying by the conjugate. Up in the numerator, we're going to have a full FOIL problem, but again, down in the denominator, we're just going to multiply the first and the last terms. So let's focus first on that denominator. We're going to have negative 3 times negative 3, which is 9 root 9, and then minus, because of positive times negative, 9 root 25. Okay, let's focus on this numerator. We've got to do a full FOIL problem. The first term will be negative 12 root 9. Outer will be plus 12 root 15. Inner is going to be minus 6 root 15. And the last will be plus 6 root 25. Okay, let's simplify in each of these cases here. On the top left, we have the square root of 9, which will become 3, times the negative 12, making negative 36. In the middle terms in the numerator, we can combine like terms and have plus 6 root 15. Then 6 times 5 becomes plus 30. Down in the denominator, 9 root 9, that's 9 times 3, which is 27, minus 9 times 5, which is 45. Let's keep going. Up in the numerator, when we combine the negative 36 and the 6 together, we're going to have negative 6 plus the 6 root 15, and 27 minus 45 is negative 18. Now technically we're not supposed to cancel either of these separately. We should be factoring and canceling. And because there's a negative in the denominator, I'm going to choose to factor a negative 6 out of the numerator and make this 1 minus the square root of 15 over negative 18, so that when I do reduce the negative 6 and the 18, those negatives disappear and I just have 1 and 3. And so this can be simplified into 1 minus the square root of 15 all over 3.